Hi everyone and welcome to my channel where I talk about movies. Today I want to talk about a movie from 2004. This is Birth. It stars Nicole Kidman and is directed by Jonathan Glazer. A very remarkable, very strange, very haunting movie that opens with a long sequence in which we track behind a runner who's running through Central Park in the snow. And we see him collapse, and then 10 years later, we're at a party in which his widow, Anna, played by Nicole Kidman, has announced her engagement to Joseph, played by Danny Houston. But there's a impediment that arises very quickly at a subsequent birthday party for Anna's mother, played by Lauren Bacall, when a little 10-year-old boy crashes the party and announces that he is Sean, and he tells Anna that not to marry Joseph. Sean is the name of Anna's first husband. So this really causes a sense, is this a joke? But the little boy is seems to be so convincing that he is Anna's first husband, played by Cameron Bright, and just great casting. And you as well as Anna, you come to believe, is he really the reincarnation of Anna's dead husband? Because he knows so much detail, intimate details that only Anna and her husband would have known. So is this some sort of elaborate joke? But because of all these details, Anna is beginning to waver. and we see this manifested in a great close-up shot of Nicole Kidman, who Joseph takes her to a concert, and there's a close-up. The camera slowly moves into a close-up of Anna, in which we see her struggling with all her emotions, all set to the music, the stirring music of Richard Wagner. So Central Park, which we see in the beginning of the film, becomes a character in the movie. We see boxes buried there. We see at one point we see Sean having climbed up a tree, and this is set in a beautiful apartment. That's the matriarch of the family, the mother, played by Lauren Bacall, and it contrasts the luxury style of Anna and Joseph and her mother versus Sean's working class background. Now, this is a film that could be seen as a paranormal film. Jonathan Glazer, in the interviews and the supplements, says that he was not interested in making a paranormal film. So this is very much a psychological movie exploring Anna's vulnerability, her sense of grief after 10 years. Even by today's standards, 10 years of grief is a long time. And Nicole Kidman is so thin in this film, which makes her seem even more vulnerable. So it resembles to me more of a Henry James ghost story. Henry James wrote Turn of the Screw, which was made most famously in 1960 as The Innocents, being adapted many other times. But Henry James wrote lots of ghost stories, and that's how he made his living. His novels never sold very well, but his ghost stories did. And they're all good, and again, they never really go into the sense that are ghosts real. It's all centered on the psychology of the people who are suffering from whatever delusion that these so-called ghosts bring up, which is what Anna is suffering from. And you have to wonder, as you're watching the film, how could this be manifested if we're not seeing a paranormal kind of film. What are we seeing, and how is this film going to resolve itself? Well, the screenwriter of Birth was Jean-Claude Carrière. He worked with Glazer for many months on the film, and he was the one who came up with the twist that would kind of explain everything. Jean-Claude Carrière, for those who follow my Buñuel series, will recognize him as Buñuel's main collaborator in the latter parts, 60s and 70s. But he worked on many other famous films as well. But the film really depends on Kidman, and Criterion very very appropriately has her on the cover in a close-up. She has pixie hair, so you might be reminded of Mia Farrow in Rosemary's Baby, also a New York City, same sort of ambiance in New York City. So her eyebrows, her brunette hair, we're used to seeing her as more or less a blonde here. She has not just a pixie haircut, a different hairstyle, and her eyebrows look different. They look kind of almost a little bit fearsome, and which really matches Danny Houston. And when we get close-ups of the two together, they do seem to match. But of course, Joseph is getting increasingly frustrated with what he sees as his fiancée is falling victim to falling in love with a 10-year-old boy. There is one scene that is very famous here. It's the bathtub scene with Kidman and Sean, in which really makes people uncomfortable. And Jonathan Glazer admits it was a risky scene to film. I'm not sure how necessary to the film it is, because and was the risk worth taking? Glazer thinks obviously that it was, but we get this sense that we are looking at Sean both as a 10-year-old boy and as a potential lover, her husband, in this bathtub scene. So Nicole Kidman was making, very bold choices. Now, she had been talking with Jonathan Glazer for quite a while about making this film, and when she saw the script, she was saying, of course, this is what I want to do. Glazer can be seen as a kind of visionary filmmaker. He's not making traditional horror film here. This is something different, and something that delves deep into a character, and Kidman really immerses herself in this role. And Glazer talks about the process of making a movie. He spends months, years thinking about what kind of movie he wants to make, with a specific project in mind. Here he just had an idea of a little boy being reincarnated as a husband 10 years after his death. But it took Jean-Claude Carrière to help him with that original process. But then there's the filming, and according to Glazer, he discovers the film through the process, which can lead to a little vagueness. Now, Glazer's next film, Under the Skin, which was supposed to actually be made before Birth, but when Birth started to blossom, then he put Under the Skin on hold for another 9 years before that film was made. That's really vague. I had never seen that one before. I had seen Birth when it came out, and Glazer's first film, Sexy Beast, as well. I didn't remember much about that. But I saw Under the Skin, in which Glazer takes away, he's adopting a novel, he takes away all the narrative of the novel, almost all the dialogue, and it's just a series of very compelling shots, and very much a filmmaker who's very visionary. But only 4 movies in 26 years. There's in the There's a Charlie Rose interview with Kidman and Glazer in which Nicole Kidman said, when they're talking about what the film means, Glazer said, "Well, I can't really, I don't, I'm too close to the film. Maybe ask me in another few years. You know, I can maybe talk about Sexy Beast 4 years earlier, because that's more clear to me now." And Nicole Kidman says, we'll understand Birth better as the years go by when we see Glazer's body of work. But there really is hardly any body of work. 2013, we get Under the Skin, and 10 years after that, we get The Zone of Interest, which I have not seen yet. But I'm now eager to see. So for me, it's hard to enjoy, fully appreciate films when I don't have much context. So there's very few films to place into context, and with such a long period in between. Glazer not making films, he sort of gets forgotten. Oh yeah, that was the guy that made this movie 10 years ago. I think context can enrich it, but again, you know, one of his idols, I'm sure, watching this film, and especially Under the Skin, is Stanley Kubrick. And after Clockwork Orange, what did he make? Another 4 or 5 films in the last 30 years of his life. The look of the film is very distinctive. Harris Savides, I think is how you pronounce his name. We see him at work in the supplements, and he was going for a very different look, underexposing the film, pushing it in the process, in the development. And he thought he was going to get fired because the movie has a very dark look. Looks great on UHD. Dolby Vision is great for dark scenes, as I often say in my videos. And that certainly lends to the atmosphere of the film, because this is really a film about atmosphere. And I have to mention the score by Alexander Desplat. I think this was his first English language score. His first score that Glazer didn't like, they threw it out. They went for a different type of score, and much of this much of the score is sort of fairy tale-ish, so it kind of conflicts with this kind of serious psychological story that we're seeing with the fairy tale type music. It is a beautiful score, nevertheless. So all I can really say right now is that I was mesmerized by Birth from the first shot to the final shot. I've just found this a mesmerizing film. Okay, thanks a lot for everybody who listened. I do appreciate it. Comments are welcome. Take care.